Imagine facing an invincible army with only 300 men and no weapons. This is the story of Gideon, Israel's unlikely hero who, against all odds, led his people in one of the most miraculous and impossible victories in the Bible. But how was it possible? And what does it have to do with you? In ancient times, the people of Israel lived in constant terror. 4 years, they were pursued and oppressed by the Midianites, a relentless and power-hungry people. They looted crops, destroyed homes, and left the Israelites without hope. The Israelites, desperate and cornered, hid in caves, trying to survive. It was a time of darkness when fear reigned, and it seemed that help would never come, until something extraordinary happened. And then, God chose someone unlikely, a common man, timid, even fearful, Gideon. But why would God choose him to save Israel? After all, Gideon saw himself as the least important, the weakest. Yet, this choice would change everything. One ordinary afternoon, while Gideon was hiding from the Midianites, he had a vision that shocked him and changed his life forever. An angel appeared, saying, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon's expression was one of pure amazement and doubt. But how? If the Lord is with us, why is all this happening? He questioned. Gideon didn't see himself as a hero. He was just a man full of fear and despair. But God saw more. The angel replied that Gideon was chosen to free Israel from the grip of the Midianites. Even with all his uncertainties, Gideon accepted the mission, but with one condition: he needed a sign. And so, God showed his power through signs that proved to Gideon that this mission was real and that he would be by his side. Gideon gathered an army of thousands of men. However, God had other plans. He instructed Gideon to reduce that army, until only 300 men remained. Yes, just 300. Imagine the pressure, fear, and tension that overwhelmed Gideon and his warriors. They were about to face an army of thousands with a minimal number of soldiers and resources. But God wanted to make it clear that this victory would be his, not by human strength. The night of the battle arrived. The men were positioned, each holding a trumpet and a jar with torches inside. At Gideon's signal, they were to break the jars and blow the trumpets. It was an apparently absurd strategy, one that no one would ever believe. But at that moment, Gideon trusted completely in God. And so, with the sound of trumpets and the light of torches illuminating the night, the Midianite camp was gripped by an inexplicable panic. God caused confusion among the enemy soldiers, who ended up fighting one another, fleeing in desperation in the middle of the night. With only 300 men, no weapons, no horses, no shields, Gideon and his army defeated thousands of enemies. Gideon's victory was a miracle that demonstrated God's power. Gideon's victory was more than just a battle one. It was a living testament that God can do the impossible. Even in the darkest situations, when it seems there's no way out, God remains faithful to those who trust in him. Gideon, the unlikely hero, became the leader who freed Israel, not through human strength, but through faith and obedience. This story reminds us that, no matter how insignificant we may feel, God sees us differently. He sees us as true warriors when we are willing to listen and follow his voice. So, the next time you face a challenge, remember Gideon, and trust that God can transform any situation into victory. If this story touched your heart, leave your like, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe for more stories of faith and triumph. God has great plans, and perhaps you may be the next one called for a special mission.